welcome to my very first YouTube video. So I am Marie-Laure. I'm a literature student who really loves food, and you may have noticed, but I really literally just woke up. And what we are going to do today, why I just woke up, is a typical what I eat in a video. However, it won't be a very healthy, fitnessy day because I'm not into that. This is a very realistic day in which I will eat whatever I want, healthy, unhealthy. We won't really be looking at that. However, there is one rule, because I'm a literature student. I thought it would be fun to only eat from literary works, like foods that are present in these literary works, and these could be novels, these could be poems, these could be old legends. I'm not sure. I mean, I am sure yet, but you are not, so I won't be telling you yet. So now I told you a little bit of what we are going to do today, but actually that is my plan for the whole YouTube channel. So now you may think, why are you doing the same every time? Well, that is actually because I really like food and I really love books, etc. So I thought to just combine it in one YouTube channel and just go with the flow, see where I'm going with everything, how many books I read, how much food I eat. It will just be a casual sit down with you guys. But for every video, I thought it would be nice to have like a different theme. So today the theme is the different tastes of food. Now, what I mean with that is you have like bitter, you have sweet, you have sour, you have salty, and you have umami. I actually didn't know there was a different kind of taste, but I looked it up and there are more than 4 typical tastes. So I hope you're equally as excited as me to go on this journey and to discover the different kind of tastes and their function and what they can mean to the foods that I eat from the literary works. So I guess we'll start with breakfast. We have arrived at our first meal of the day, which is breakfast. This is obviously the most important meal of the day, but what will we make? We will make a very sweet dish. It is called hasty pudding, and there is a poem called Hasty Pudding, which is published in 1796 by John Barlow. And what is it about? It's about hasty pudding. But what is hasty pudding? It's kind of wheat. It's based on wheat flour with water and maple syrup, and it's a pudding, which obviously the dish says, but it's very sweet because there is a lot of syrup involved. And I have the ingredients here. So you have the wheat flour, the water, and of course the most important thing is the sweet taste of the maple syrup. So I have all of my ingredients here, and I guess we can just start and make it. So first we have to just boil the water. It's actually we just have to make everything in one pan and just mix it. That is all we have to do, but first we have to wait until the water is boiled. While we wait, I thought it was fun to explain the sweet taste a little bit. I did some research, which you can find here, and it's all based on really scholarly articles, because I actually didn't really know anything about the different kind of tastes and the functions of it. So first of all, kind of the symbolic meaning of sweetness is that Kircher says that it equals goodness, pleasure, reward, and temptation. So it's kind of a very good and positive thing. I also found that sweetness serves as being useful to others, to other tastes and stuff. So this is boiling right now, so I'm first going to make the hasty pudding, and then while I eat it, I will link it to the poem. See you there. so this is what we're dealing with. This was ready in, I think, 2 or 3 minutes, which is really, really quick. It kind of looks a little bit like mashed potatoes, and I don't know, I didn't taste it yet. So the recipe said that I have to let it cool down and then add the maple syrup. Okay, hi. So I moved outside and we have this pretty concoction. It kind of, as I said, it looks like mashed potatoes. It's kind of sticky and hard. We also have my dog who is here, by the way, if you want to see him. He's very interested in the food. So I guess I'll just pour maple syrup on this and we'll see how it tastes. So the recipe didn't really say how much, but I'm kind of a sweet gal, so I guess we'll... Okay, I think that is enough. I'm not sure. I mean, we can always add more, right? So this is exciting. It's kind of hard to take because it's sticky. Okay, it's kind of bland. I feel like the maple syrup adds every flavor that there is here in this hasty pudding. Because without it, it's just very bland. But I do really like the maple syrup, so that's good. But that actually makes me jump to the link between the sweetness and the choice of the poet Barlow in hasty pudding. Now that I've tasted it, it's kind of as if I told you just before that maple syrup adds everything to this meal, to this breakfast. And as I told you before, sweetness is only there to serve the usefulness, which is kind of vague, but it's just that it offers, like, that is its whole function, to make sure that there is taste, and it's just a very important addition to a meal. And if you combine that to the symbolic meaning of goodness, of temptation, of reward, of pleasure, and you know the story of the poem of Hasty Pudding, then I think it's kind of remarkable that he uses this sweet dish to link it to a more political message, if you say, because the poem is about how his own agrarian culture is better than the colonizers of England and France, and hasty pudding is like the main dish that they serve in his own culture. And I think it's important because this sweetness then just highlights all of the goodness of the agrarian culture, and that kind of adds to his whole argument that the agrarian culture is better because he links it with a sweet dish, and sweetness stands for goodness and reward. Additionally, what I also found is that in the 18th century, Britain and France were against sugar. Now, this poem is published in the 18th century, and I think it's kind of ironic, not really ironic, but probably like intentional of Barlow to publish this poem in the 18th century about sweetness, which is made out of sugar. It's very sugary, and Britain and France were like the biggest colonizers in the century, and he kind of critiques them for taking over New America and America's culture. So by kind of using sugar against Britain and France, he kind of critiques them in a more emphasized and highlight way. And a third factor about sweetness and sugar in itself is that when linked to Barlow's poem, he says that implicitly in the poem that hasty pudding reminds him of a virgin land because it is not yet conquered by colonizers such as Britain and France, what I just explained. And when I think about virgin, I think about white and pureness, but these two main characteristics are also characteristics of sugar. It is also white, it is also very pure. So I just felt that everything in this poem is linked with sweetness, but it's not just the taste. It's not just a poem about, oh, this is a nice dish. No, this is a poem about the colonization and that New America is better and it shouldn't be colonized by Britain and France, or Spain, but it's also colonizer. But I just think that this is very interesting because it's because of the use of one type of taste that this poem adds so much more flavor, if you mind my playfulness of language here. So I think this is time for me to eat the hasty pudding because I think my dog really wants it. He was looking at it the whole time. Yeah. So this is one example of how taste can be more than just a flavor to your dish. It's lunchtime, and for lunch I have decided to eat a pizza because why not? I love pizza. I love myself a pepperoni pizza. However, this one is very special. Look at this. Do you see all of these pickles? I actually do not really like pickles. So sour is my second taste of today. Pickles are actually very sour apparently, and I didn't really want to eat any sour candy because we just had some sweets with the hasty pudding. And I actually really enjoyed reading Pizza Girl, even though I do not like the protagonist. So this pickled pizza is inspired by the novel of Pizza Girl by Jean Keong Frazier, if I say that correctly. The pickled pizza is a very interesting choice and a very interesting motif, you can say, in the novel. I didn't really like the protagonist, but I do think that the taste of sour really adds to the novel in a whole. So first I'm going to explain a little bit about what sour means, and sour is actually the symbolic meaning of it is envy and jealousy, which I think, if I say this now, it really relates to Pizza Girl. I think her name is Jane. She is really kind of envious and jealous of the people she gives pizzas to, but also of Jenny. So yeah, she idealizes everyone, and because of that she thinks that all of them have like a greater life than her, like a better life. So she feels kind of envious of them, but she's also very intrigued of Jenny. That also adds to her own kind of identity search quest, that she gets like an identity crisis because she kind of compares herself with the other people, and then she only views the negative characteristics of her own life, which, yeah, I mean, when you also have like a phrase to get a sour taste in one's mouth, I think that could be applied to Pizza Girl as well, because I think she got a sour taste in her mouth every time that she looked at people, or because like even her boyfriend and her mom, because they were all so happy and she wasn't happy with the life that she had. So that is why she got like a sour taste in her mouth, and why she was envious and jealous of them being so happy. But first, before this gets cold, I want to do a taste test. So I'm going to pick a piece with a lot of pickles. Wish me luck, please. I don't like it. I tasted the pickles a bit too much, and I don't like it, what it adds to this pizza. But I'm going to go through it and eat the entire pizza because I just love pizza and I'm very hungry. because hazy pudding wasn't that fulfilling. I just love eating food, so why not? Okay, so I've eaten quite a bit already. I was very hungry. It's a couple minutes later, but I do still want to talk about the meaning of sourness, but more exactly like what is the function of making something sour, and especially with pickles. So pickles are, when you buy them or you put them in the fridge, you notice that they are like in water. It's a kind of acid, and that is what makes the pickles sour. So you can actually make pickles with like small cucumbers and put them in some vinegar, and then you get pickles. I thought that was a nice thing to know. I have never tried it, but I don't really like pickles. So the main function actually of a sour taste is to prevent something from going bad. And when relating that to Pizza Girl, I thought, well, Jane wants to prevent from going bad, kind of. I know that the pizza wasn't for her, but she's the one who always like has to get the pickles in the store in order for the chefs in the pizza place to make the pizza for the son of Jenny. So I think that Jane, she really compares herself with her dad, and her dad is like a very bad figure, like parent figure for her. And she really doesn't want to become like him, but she notices more and more that she becomes like him because they have like the same hands, for example, and they're also both kind of addicted to alcohol. So I thought it was interesting how the sour taste of the pickled pizza is such a big theme or motif in Pizza Girl, because maybe Jane kind of wants to prevent herself from going bad, or because the pizza is actually destined for the son of Jenny. Maybe Jenny and her son, maybe Jane thinks that Jenny and her son will prevent Jane from going bad. That is just a small thought that I had. Also, when the sourness doesn't really work, like if something does go bad, you call it spoiled or unripe food. I saw that in an article, by the way. So I was wondering, maybe Jane is unripe and spoiled. I'm not really sure that she is spoiled in the literal sense, that she gets too many presents and that stuff, and that she's privileged or anything, because she has a really hard life. But I do think that she's kind of unripe, because that could be a link to her identity crisis, and that she is trying to find her own identity, but she isn't really sure, and it's like a cyclical cycle. It's like one cycle that is just going over and over again. So I think that you could interpret it as Jane being unripe for the world. Last thing is, I was researching a little bit about the novel, The Sour Taste, and I came upon an interview in which the author, Jane Keong Fraser, says that there was like a lot of social media influence to judge and compare oneself with someone else, with conventional views of the progression your life is supposed to take. And I thought it was really interesting how she says that, because that kind of adds to what I was saying before, because Jane compares herself with a lot of other people, and you have like a traditional way of living life, literally, and it is obvious that Jane isn't following that path. So maybe it's a sort of critique of the author to these traditional ways of doing life by making the protagonist not following that path. And I also think that adds to like the what I eat in a day video that I'm doing, because I mean, I'm eating pizza. This is not atypical what I eat in a day, because I'm not being healthy. I'm actually like drinking Coke with it, because pizza and water, that's like weird. But I don't know, I just felt that it all kind of adds together, and yeah, it's like one big puzzle. Before this gets cold though, I'm going to keep eating the pickles. I'm going to eat a pickle raw. This is my sorry, I really don't like it. Okay, I did that as a taste test, and it's actually really sour. Maybe that's why I do not really like pickles. But I would encourage you to try it as well, and let me know in the comments down below what you think of it. On to the next one. So it's almost 4 o'clock, so that means it's time for a snack. And this snack is very salty because these are pistachio nuts. Yes, like these small things, and they are like covered in salt. And I am very much addicted to salt. I literally put it on almost everything you can imagine. Okay, like nuts, ice cream, etc. But like literally on everything. And that's why pistachio nuts are one of my favorite type of snacks to eat, yeah. Because they're covered with salt, and normally like I open them and then on the inside is a lot of salt, and then I touch it with my tongue and it's just full of salt. And I know it's very unhealthy, but it's just a thing I do, and a thing I like, and I will not stop doing it. So salt is our third taste, I guess. Yes. And I also looked up some articles which told me what salt means or what the function is, and most of them told me that salt symbolizes a long-lasting friendship and relationship between people. It has also been a symbol of taste, purity, preservation, luxury, and welcome. Yeah, and the spiritual meaning is kind of the same. It's loyalty, purity, fidelity, and also everything tastes better if you use salt. Which, I mean, I will not disagree with, because I put salt on everything. But yeah, so that is kind of the meaning of salt. Now, why? I mean, it's kind of, I chose this big book here. It's called American Indian Myths and Legends, and I mean, salt is quite literally used in this work, so it's not really just a food on its own or a meal on its own to eat, but that's why I chose pistachio nuts, because I just eat it for the salt. And how is salt incorporated in this book? Well, it's mostly because there is a character, and she is Salt Woman, and I've noticed that she is coming back in multiple myths and legends, but there is one very important one. That is a story called Salt Woman is Refused Food. So this again is linked to food. In the story, it is said that Salt Woman and her grandson want to eat somewhere, but they are denied food by a certain pueblo, and therefore she kind of takes revenge and changes them into chaparral jays. Then she comes into another pueblo, and that is Santa Domingo, and they treat her well and she's fed, so she is very grateful, and in return she gives them a rock of salt, and that makes every food way better. It tastes way better because it tastes salty, because before that the people didn't really use salt, and the Salt Woman explains to them, like, the other city, they didn't treat me well, so they didn't get any salt, but you guys really treated me well and you welcomed me, so you get salt in return. And I think that is wait, she also says, sorry, I'm looking into the story here. She also says that if any of you want more of my flesh, you will find it at that place. So she is kind of saying like, whenever you want more salt, you can just go there and get it. She is opening her arms for the people who did that before her. And that is kind of linked to the meaning of salt when I said that it symbolizes a long-lasting friendship and relationship between people. And it is also a symbol of welcome and fidelity. And that is what the people of Santo Domingo did for Salt Woman. They were very welcoming, and in return, Salt Woman is now very loyal to them, and they kind of have built their a long-lasting friendship, the thing that salt represents. She also says that it is very pure and it's a high value, but the purity of salt is also is more important, and that ties into, I'm just looking up the page again. She says, and when you come together, let there be no laughing, no singing, nothing of that kind. Be quiet and clean. And I think that actually also links back to the meaning of salt, of its purity, of its high value, that it should be kept that way. And people who don't really have anything to do with that should stay away from salt because they would tamper with it. And I'm kind of still looking at the pistachio nuts, so I will eat them now if you do not mind. I kept talking to you. I love this so much. I'm sorry again, I'm very addicted to salt. This is really good. Like, you should really like put the tip of your tongue inside of the shell. There's a lot of salt there. And I'm actually very blessed that we now know that we now have salt to make our food better, because I can imagine that it would be very bland otherwise. But apparently only the people who are bad and not welcoming do not deserve salt. So there only is one more dish, I think, yes, and that will be a very big one. See you then. Welcome to the last part of this What I Eat in a Day video, and tonight we are making Korean bibimbap. This is kind of a meal box of my local supermarket, which is the only thing I could find that was Korean, but I really wanted to eat something Korean because it is inspired by the novel Crying in H Mart, which is actually one of my favorite books that I've ever read. So we are making Korean bibimbap. It will look like that, hopefully. But it's very easy to make because we have like the steps, what I have to do. But before I do that, I wanted to explain a little bit of umami, because this is the last flavor that I will discuss. Umami was a flavor that I actually didn't really know existed until I did some more research, but it is kind of the same as something savory, but it's still something different. It's mainly found in mushrooms, and apparently Asian food and culture has a lot of umami in it. So you can mostly find it in Asia, and that's just why I also have something Korean. So my plan is that I will cook this first, and then while I eat it, I will explain like the links between umami and the novel Crying in H Mart. But before I do all of that, I wanted to give you the gist of what umami actually is. So according to, again, some articles which I will link down below, all of them if I can, because this is my first YouTube video and I'm not really sure how everything works, but I will do my best to put it down below. So it is said that umami is very helpful for people's bodies. It could be it has like a healing factor. For example, it helps a lot of people with like cancer treatment because they have like a dry mouth, and actually everybody like after a surgery has a really dry mouth and they have to like pat it with some water in order to not chap it. But if you eat something with a lot of umami in it, then it like creates a lot of salivation in your mouth, so that would kind of prevent your dry mouth. It also helps with the flavor of things. I think it's kind of a supported taste or flavor, because I'm not really sure what umami tastes like, because I actually think that it supports other flavors to be highlighted and emphasized. So it just makes sure that you have a lot of flavor in your meals. So that is kind of what umami is. I will now make everything. It is already pre-cut, but you can already see some mushrooms here, which does have a lot of umami in it. So I guess I will start cooking now. Wish me luck. Look at that! Doesn't this look amazing? So this is the last meal. My dog is here with me as well. He really likes to eat, and so do I. Before I go into the links of the novel Crying in H Mart, I thought to do a taste test. So I'm just going to dig in. It's kind of hard to know. Okay, first the salted cucumber. This is really nice, if I do say so myself. Now some rice. I normally don't really like eggs, but now I do. And this is the umami part. This part right here. That is very flavorful. I didn't really expect that. That is stronger than I thought, but I had to use some kind of paste, which I think all of the flavor comes from. So I'm not sure if it's the umami itself or not. Okay, now to go back to the link, and then I will start to eat. So Crying in H Mart is basically a novel about a woman who has to endure her mom's cancer treatment, and like the whole thing, the whole thing that she has to go through. It's very heartbreaking, to be honest. I think I think this is a better angle. So yeah, she has to endure her mom's cancer treatment, and she really wants to connect with her mother and be worthy enough to be her daughter. And the way in which her mom and her connect is basically through food, and thus this food. And the thing is that she is half Korean, half American, and her mother is on the Korean side. And that is kind of the only way, like Korean food is kind of the only way to connect with her. But the thing is that the girl cannot really make any Korean food, but when her mom has cancer, she really tries to kind of find a connection. But now what does that have to do with umami? Well, umami, as I said before, helps someone to heal. And I think this could be seen as both physically but also mentally and emotionally. Physically for the mom who has cancer, because I mean Hi, editor Marie-Laure here. I just wanted to add that my phone didn't have enough storage anymore, so there is like a part missing. But I just wanted to say that the mom is physically not okay, because I mean she has cancer and she has to go through a chemo treatment and stuff, and the girl is emotionally not okay because she has to see her mom like that and really wants to connect with her mom, but she's not really able to do that, and she's just really having a hard time as well. But so she really wants to connect with her, and her way of doing that is by making Korean food. She actually learns to do that by munchie videos, and I kind of wanted to like follow one of those as well, but all of the different ingredients I couldn't find them anywhere. There aren't a lot of Korean shops in Belgium here, so I thought to just go with like a meal box of my supermarket, which was actually also pretty hard to find. But enough of that, back to umami. So as I said before, it also helps to flavor things, and one of the symptoms rather of getting a cancer treatment is that you have a loss of taste, or that you just can taste less in general than you could before. So one of the things that the girl really wants to help her mom with is that she can still taste food, because Korean food is like known for how it tastes, or I mean Asian food in general. They already kind of have a strong taste, so the fact that her mom couldn't really taste it anymore was like a big warning or alarm for the girls. I keep saying the girl, by the way, but her name is Michelle, so I'll just keep using Michelle. So she is really adamant to make the food even more tasty. So then she gives it to her mom, but then her mom says no, it's way too tasty. So it's a way too powerful flavor for her. She cannot really handle that. So it's kind of a balance that on the one hand she cannot really taste that much, but on the other hand it's like way too much when there is taste. So it's also very hard for Michelle to like find that balance, and that kind of makes the disconnection even further, because now Michelle tried to learn it in order to support her mother during cancer treatment, but now her mother is kind of implicitly rejecting Michelle's help by rejecting the food that she makes, which I cannot even imagine how that must feel like for Michelle. But in the end, like when her mother has passed away, the fact that Michelle still makes Korean food is still like kind of an indicator that she can connect with her mom in that way, even though it was such a hard thing during cancer treatments to make a connection through food. Sorry, I actually really want to eat this. It's still like standing in front of me, so I haven't really eaten that much because I was talking. So I guess I will eat this right now, and then probably an outro will follow. So yeah, that was it. So So those were the 4 meals that I ate today. I hope that you enjoyed. But to kind of give a small recap, I wanted to go over everything that I ate. So we started off with breakfast that was very sweet. Sweetness stands for purity, goodness, virgin. Then we had a lovely lunch with a pickled pizza, which stood for sourness. Sour stands for its main function is to prevent from going bad, but it also stands for envy and jealousy of somebody else. So it's kind of in contrast with the sweetness. Then we had a small snack, a lovely snack of pistachio nuts, which were very salted, which I really liked. And that stands for friendship, loyalty, purity as well. It's very welcoming. And then the last thing that you just saw was bibimbap, which was a Korean dish, and there was a lot of umami in it. And umami has a very healing factor, and it's very supporting of other flavors. So that's also a pretty good and positive flavor. So I hope you enjoyed. Leave a comment down below if you have other meals or dishes that you want me to try, or literary works that you want me to read and discuss. I'll be happy to read all of those, and see you in the next one.